Amulet Titan. Such an appropriate final boss for Edgar here on the SCG Tour.
Both ways, right?
Absolutely.
You show up with Amulet Titan because you think that you have a decent matchup against these Simic Urza decks. Let's see it.
Sam Berkenbile with a few nice finishes with Amulet Titan at this point. Maybe not one of the first names you think about when it comes to Amulet Titan, but has certainly proven knows his way around this deck.
I like this start a lot out of Edgar. Knowing the matchup, getting that preemptive Engineered Explosives on one, definitely good here.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it, Craig. Who knows how to play on the Simic Urza side better than Edgar in this matchup?
Yep.
He's certainly played the Amulet Titan side a bunch of times. He knows exactly what that deck is trying to accomplish here. Going to do his best to fight against it. Sam Berkenbile going to fire off Once Upon a Time on turn one. Looks like Snow-Covered Forest at the ready. Amulet of Vigor. Usually an ideal turn one play. Edgar does have Engineered Explosives on one at the ready. Let's see how he wants to spend this turn. Going to start with a Mishra's Bauble. Mystic Sanctuary tapped. A little sooner than you want to see that, but it is time to blow up that Engineered Explosives. Edgar knows, control the amulets.
Yeah, and I like the line from Sam's side as well, where you're saying, this Engineered Explosives is going to be a problem for me moving forward. Let me just force my opponent to use their entire next turn, getting this off of the board, and then I can continue to execute my game plan from there.
Sam going to cast Ancient Stirrings, finds an Engineered Explosives. Thinking about his land drop for the turn. Every micro decision matters so much in Amulet Titan. Going to play Tolaria West here. Turn passes back to Edgar. Edgar's got another Engineered Explosive. Just going to run that one out, and makes an Urza Lord High Artificer on turn three. Beautiful start from Edgar, and it looks like Karn the Great Creator is the last card in hand.
Yeah, this really just puts Sam to the test, right? You're saying, if I deploy Karn next turn, the turn after that, you're going to be locked under the lattice. So you have one, maybe two more turns to make some big, impactful plays, and we'll see if that's enough.
Just taking a quick look at Sam's hand, I don't see anything all that exciting. Looks like it's going to be time for Engineered Explosives on 0. Pay 2 mana, break it. Okay. Edgar going to crack Bauble in response. This picks up a lot of stuff here.
No, that's huge.
Yeah.
That is a big catch-up turn. All of those artifacts represented mana sources for Edgar.
Yeah, absolutely. Urza just going to go ahead and attack. Gilded Goose going to bring an artifact to the battlefield in the form of food. That means Karn's still a possibility here. Untap land, tap the food.
Jeez.
Time for Karn.
I thought that Engineered Explosives were going to kind of give Sam a chance to catch back up in this game. No, not even close.
Edgar rebuilt pretty quickly. Karn just going to go ahead and plus immediately.
When a land or any zero-cost artifact represents a Mycosynth Lattice next turn for Edgar.
Right, this could be Sam's last turn to participate in the game. Scary spot for Sam. Drew an Azusa. With no Amulet in play, that's not going to do quite what you want it to here. And I think the rest of Sam's hand is just lands. Now, you can play out of that position as Amulet Titan, that's fine, but the clock's ticking here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously once the lattice hits the board, you're just done. The game's all locked up.
Sam gonna shock. Transmute Tolaria West. Go get Field of the Dead.
He's saying if I get locked,
maybe I can still win.
under Mickelson Lattice, my only path to victory is making zombies.
Sounds right to me. Edgar, though, says, all right, try it.
I mean, this plan is slow as molasses, but I appreciate that Sam identified the only chance he would have in this game.
Yeah, it's all he's got. Going to play Field of the Dead. Turn passes back to Edgar. I mean, look, you plus on the Lattice, deal a ton of damage. Sam's not going to get enough turns for this Field of the Dead to matter in all likelihood.
Yeah, I can't imagine this game plan is good. Edgar even has the option of spinning the Urza wheel.
You played your outs, though.
Man, this draw out of Edgar was just spectacular.
Real strong. And Sam had all the right pieces, right? There was Amulet on one.
Yep.
Had a really nice engineered explosives.
Yep.
It all just didn't matter, though.
Yeah, and to me, the engineered explosives in the Urza decks was one of those big steps forward.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 0-mana artifact that also cleaned up so many of the problems that they had.
I think you're spot on. So Sam going to play a Radiant Fountain, gains a couple life, makes a zombie.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we're still playing this game, but we are.
Yeah, and Sam has had enough, is going to scoop them up in the face of Mycosynth Lattice. I think it was the Mystic Sanctuary Edgar showed that really broke the camel's back. And Edgar is up a game, 1-0 over Sam Berkenbile. Quite a draw there, Craig.
Yeah, and you see the way that these the Simic decks pressure the opponents from kind of all different angles. Had the disruption in the form of the engineered explosives, had a whole bunch of artifacts on the board that got cleaned up, still able to lock out the opponent with Karn plus the Lattice. Pretty impressive stuff.
I agree. Time for sideboarding. Why don't we start over on Edgar's side? You think Edgar is conscientious of this matchup, Craig? 3 Damping Sphere, the first card we see.
That is a million.
2 Drown in the Lock, 2 Fatal Push, 2 Assassin's Trophy, 2 Thoughtseize, 1 Pithing Needle, 1 Mycosynth Lattice, 1 Ensnaring Bridge, and a Mystic Forge. Craig, what are you going to do over on Edgar's side?
So if you're Edgar, you just immediately bring in 2 of these Damping Spheres, right? There is a question of maybe they want to side out Karn the Great Creator in this matchup. If you're siding out Karn, obviously you bring in all of the Damping Spheres. I also like Assassin's Trophy. Anytime they're trying to go off using a Karoo, you can blow it up mid-combo, mid-untap, and really disrupt them with that. And the Thoughtseizes, I think, are very powerful in this matchup as well.
Spot on. That's exactly how I would be looking to board over on Edgar's side. Meanwhile, for Sam, we are looking at 3 Mystical Dispute, 2 Dismember, 2 Force of Vigor, a Chameleon Colossus, a Tireless Tracker, Obstinate Baloth, 1 Disdainful Stroke, 1 Field of the Dead, 1 Cavern of Souls, 1 Ramanap Excavator, and 1 Engineered Explosives. And Craig, I'm going to tell you, I've played this matchup a few times on the Amulet Titan side.
Sure.
I have not found a sideboard plan I like. I think a bunch of these cards all seem situationally good.
Yes.
None of them are slam dunks for me.
That's what I was going to say. It seems like you have to bring in the Force of Vigor, right? If you're not bringing it in this matchup,
then why have
what
it?
are you using it for?
Yep.
But there's times where they just go off with Oko, and that card just feels so clunky and awkward. Same with a card like Mystical Dispute, where sometimes you can counter something. Other times you're just tapping out all the time. Your opponent still gets to do whatever they want. If the game's going to go a little bit longer, you like Tireless Tracker. You can generate a lot of card advantage out of it. But there's definitely times where you just don't want Tireless Tracker in your deck. The way the first game played out, it was so fast. You'd never want to be messing around with Tireless Tracker in a game like that. A card like Cavern of Souls, probably siding that one in. But there's definitely going to be games where it just doesn't matter. A lot of these cards... all that being said, I like the engineered explosives, right? Like, we'll start there. Definitely want to bring that one in, but it's going to be interesting which direction Sam goes from there, because I listed a lot of different cards. You definitely don't want all of those cards in this matchup.
No, you don't. And I think there's cards you didn't list that you can make a good case for.
Sure.
Something like Field of the Dead. Some of these games go very long, and you want to play a Field of the Dead based game plan as opposed to the usual approach. So I don't know what Sam's going to do. I wish I had some clarity on exactly how you want to play this matchup, but I just haven't found the good plan yet. And it's a little crazy to me that as many people have picked up Amulet Titan in the face of these Simic decks. as have recently, because I don't think there's a significant edge, and it seems like a lot of players feel otherwise. I think it's close. I think it's fine, but I don't think you're finding an edge as an Amulet Titan player in this matchup.
Okay.
See if Sam feels differently. If maybe Sam found the secret sauce, knows exactly how to approach Simic Urza.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it in so many events where Oko is such a problem because it answers artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
And so something like Amulet of Vigor, you don't even need that many sideboard cards for it because you're already starting with 4 Oko, which is just a spectacular way of shutting down the Amulet of Vigor.
Oko is certainly the most diverse card when it comes to the answers played in Modern, because not only is it an answer, it's also a threat somehow.
It's also everything, right?
Yep. A little bit of everything from Oko. A mana generator somehow. Oh, I saw the first card Edgar peeled, Damping Sphere. Not bad.
Not a bad one.
Let's see what Sam can get up to, though, because you and I know this Amulet deck can have explosive starts, occasionally winning even on turn 2. That's not going to happen here, though. Needed a better setup on turn 1.
Yeah, I remember when Summer Bloom was legal.
Mm-hmm.
Then turn 2 was a real thing.
Here's an Amulet of Vigor. Talaria West is the play, and it's going to pass to Edgar, and that means Edgar has a window. Can slam that Damping Sphere, shut off the Karoo lands that would otherwise be producing 2 mana. Look at this, though.
Okay.
Mystical Dispute is the play from Sam Berkenbile. A huge play there.
And this is the turn. This is the go turn where Sam really needs, that high impact play. The opponent's tapped out. He's set up with his scout. He's got the Amulet of Vigor.
He's got the wrong Karoo in hand, though, Craig. He needs a green Karoo, and he could just do it here.
Oh,
Has to pass the turn, though. Let's see if Edgar can punish. Draws Karn. He had the Karoo, but it was a Boros Garrison, and that wasn't going to give him the second green source he needed. I think he's got Summoner's Pact in hand as well.
And a bit of a reprieve here. Edgar did not have Oko to turn off the artifact on the opposing side.
Yeah, and here's a real nice setup, Craig. Cavern of Souls going to come down. We're going to assume that's Naming Giant. We'll get confirmation on that. Does Sam have Summoner's Pact in hand? I thought I saw it. Yes, there it is. Cryptic Command in hand for Edgar. That's not going to help here. Here it is, Summoner's Pact. It resolves. It means it's prime time. Activate Secure Tribe Scout. Play a Boros Garrison. It's going to untap. Bounce Talaria West, and we're going to go ahead and cast Primeval Titan. Now, Slayer Stronghold, Boros Garrison already on the battlefield. That matters a lot here.
Yeah, that really does matter a lot. It seems like things are so close for Sam every turn, and he's just jammed up a little bit in every way.
Such is the life of an Amulet Titan player, Craig.
And it looks like he's thinking about going zombies.
It's interesting. Yeah, here's Field of the Dead. Here's Vesova.
Okay.
Untap.
He has not made a land drop yet this turn. Okay, I like this.
All right, got the hasty attack. I thought he had made a land drop. I thought the Cavern of Souls was land drop, but that was put into play via the Secure Tribe Scout at the end of last turn.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, well played by Sam. He gets the hasty attack. That means 2 more lands going to come down, and that means zombies for sure.
Yeah, this is the situation where things are just out of control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sam's going to be able to make a bunch of zombies. He's crashing in for a bunch of damage. He has near infinite mana coming to him next turn.
Yep.
It's just all working at this point.
Grabs Breeding Pool. Simic Growth Chamber puts 2 zombies into play. Edgar also taking a big hit here, going to fall to 12.
Oh, I like this. Little insurance policy.
Yep, grab that Pact of Negation. That's just good, clean amulet play.
And you saw Sam count up his mana because he has to pay for the green pack next turn. He's saying, do I have enough for green pack and blue pack? Yes, I do. All right.
Living the life as Sam.
And yeah, and these games are so great because, each game we saw one person just do something ridiculous, even through.
And it's good enough. Look at that.
Yeah, through a key piece of disruption out of the opponent. Did not matter.
Berkenbile flashing that Mystic Dispute. Huge dividends there. Game may be decided by the play draw, Craig.
Oh, 100%.
That happens a lot. Happens a lot in Modern. Wow, this is a very, very high stakes game 3 between these two players as they battle for an invitational top 8. One final game of Magic. Incredible, incredible stuff here from the SCG Invitational. You know what else is incredible, Craig?
I do.
Basic land, the foundation of our beautiful game of Magic the Gathering. Why not buy more of them? Buy all the basic lands. Get as many basic lands as you possibly can. You can never, ever have too many basic lands, Craig. Bountiful savings on select basic lands all the way through Monday. Go.starcitygames.com/sale. Get yourself a walled, get yourself an unglued land, whatever you want. The world is your oyster at the basic land.
Almost whatever you want.
Whatever you want. They're all there. Every basic
almost
land.
whatever you want.
It was raining on my parade, Craig.
No, what I like about you know what I like about the lands.
The ones that don't have snow on them?
Well, they speak to people's personalities. A lot of them reflect when people started playing the game or their favorite set or an artist that they really appreciate, want to support. And then there's snow-covered lands that ruin all of this.
Right. Your favorite, right? Snow-covered lands?
Why? Why?
Because we have to have Arkham's Astrolabe.
Oh, I hate that card even more.
On the battlefield. Did you ever think that 2019 was going to roll around and the thing you were going to be angriest about would be snow?
If you told me it was a 1-mana artifact that cantripped and fixed your mana for the rest of the game.
Of course. That's what it does. But snow, Craig, think about the joke that snow has been throughout constructed Magic history. And this is the thing that has you riled up. Snow.
Yeah, it's stupid. Someone bought a bunch of awesome Walds, and they're playing snow-covered forests instead.
Can't play their Walds. You know what? Amulet Titan plays both.
Yes. Kind of an exception.
Another reason to love Amulet Titan. Just bought my foil full art snow-covered forest for my Amulet Titan deck.
Which one did we go with?
I went with the Modern Horizons one.
Okay, you didn't go crazy.
I didn't go crazy. I was actually kind of in a rush, so I wasn't really making an aesthetic choice. I just needed to find some foil ones before my event started.
I like that you weren't making an aesthetic choice, but you needed foil ones?
Well, yes. If the other 73 cards in my deck are foil.
Oh, man.
Looks like both players keeping 7 here. It's exactly how you want to do it when it comes to a Game 3. For incredibly high stakes, Edgar going to go ahead and fetch Breeding Pool. Gilded Goose going to be the play.
Free food!
As told by the Telltale Food on the battlefield. Mishra's Bauble as a follow-up. Do we have the Opal? Are we just going for it? No Opal. Pass the turn. Back to Sam. Once Upon a Time in hand. Castle Garen Prig. I think Cavern of Souls. Let's see how this is going to come together for Sam. Once Upon a Time, step 1. Already has an Azusa. Already has a Cavern. And I think that's 2 of the cards revealed amongst these 5. Going to take Talaria West.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Do we have the key 1-drop? Do we have any 1-drop? from the Amulet Titan deck. Tapped Breeding Pool. No one drop yet. Edgar takes a draw. Gonna bobble himself. Does not like what he sees. Gonna go ahead and fetch.
Man, it's just all these little synergies like that.
Mm-hmm.
This deck is so good.
Very well built deck. Every now and then as a deck builder, you just kind of nail it. You mess up a lot when it comes to building Magic decks. It's really hard to do well. There's going to be a lot more failures than successes. Sometimes, though, you just kill it. And I think Lotus Box killed it here. They should be very proud of their work on this archetype.
So Edgar searched up the blue-black land, a Watery Grave here, which is, you know, making my spidey senses tingle a little bit. It tells me he probably has an Assassin's Trophy in his hand.
I agree. Not a lot going on thus far from Sam.
Yeah, not a lot at all. And one of the issues is when he does finally have something going on, it's going to turn into an elk.
Yeah. Edgar's going to make another food here because he's got Cryptic Command in hand. Wants to leave that one up.
One of the interesting things about this Amulet Titan deck, they can play through counterspells very effectively with the Cavern.
Yep.
Where you free up your Souza where it can't be countered. Then you return the Cavern to your hand with one of your Karus. You get to redeploy it under a Souza right away.
It feels so good.
And then you name Giant the second time around.
Yeah, those type of interactions. That's why you come to Amulet Titan. Why players fall in love with the deck.
And here we're going to see it.
Yeah, Cavern of Souls, guarantee that's naming human. There's Azusa. 2 more land drops. Talaria West ready to transmute. I want to see if Edgar spends his Cryptic Command proactively, knowing the setup that Sam has. Just setting him back a land drop.
Sure, yeah, he says, I'm going to send your Karu back to your hand.
Yeah. Looks like he may want to respond to this trigger. Assassin's Trophy on Cavern of Souls.
Wow, that is an interesting line to take here.
Okay. We're unlocking that Cryptic now. Sam going to go search up a basic.
To me, now the big question is, did Sam bring in the second Cavern of Souls?
We saw it. We saw it when he was
saw
Once Upon a Time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, if Sam feels like he's not under a lot of pressure, he can take a turn off. Use the Talaria West to tutor up the other Cavern of Souls and still be able to play through a Cryptic Command here.
It's interesting. I think the problem is I don't know if he has a Titan if he gives up the Talaria West.
Sure.
So it's going to be a lot of decisions for Sam to make. Is it time for Oko to start generating a clock? Or do you want to shut off that Azusa? So many decisions to be made here for both players. Swap time.
Yeah.
Have a food, Sam.
This is kind of the best of both worlds, right?
And Edgar going to buy back Assassin's Trophy.
And he has the mana to Cryptic Command and Assassin's Trophy.
This is going to be tough for Sam to play through. Takes a draw. Finds another Azusa. Looks like Sam has Force of Vigor at the ready in his hand.
Yeah, and it looked like a Disdainful Stroke as well.
I think you're right. Here is another Azusa. Are we still at the point where we care? All right. Looks like it's time to transmute.
Yeah, one of the issues with transmuting,
Summoner's Pact.
you have to watch out for getting, after you pact, if he bounces your land, blows up a land, you got to make sure you can still pay for that pact.
Right. Something like Damping Sphere could mess with your mana pretty hard. I think Sam's going to be safe. A lot of green sources on the battlefield.
Well, and he seems very adept with the deck.
Yep.
he seemed to sniff out that Cryptic Command pretty easily. We know the Assassin's Trophy is back in the grip.
Just going to be food from Edgar and pass. Force of Vigor, Disdainful Stroke. Here's Summoner's Pact. Edgar has to let that resolve, does so. Primeval Titan. Can Sam cast Titan and leave up Disdainful Stroke? I don't think he's got the right lands to do that. Here's 6 made by Castle Garenbrig. Here's Titan, only 1 mana open. Rebuke. Metallic Rebuke.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, saves Cryptic Command. That's an interesting decision, Craig, because later on in the game, when that Disdainful Stroke becomes live, there's ways for that to get punished. I get it. I understand it. I'm not trying to criticize it from Edgar's side, but you see how this could play out as the game stretches on.
Yeah, I mean, Edgar chose to keep the more powerful card in his hand, which is almost always the right choice.
Sure.
We're just wondering if it'll have some ramifications as this game moves on.
Absolutely.
Edgar is still in a pretty commanding spot here. Sam's going to have to pay for that pact on his turn, which kind of gives Edgar a free turn here. On Edgar's next turn, he can steal the other Azusa if he wants to.
Yeah.
Really just jamming up Sam. We see just how ridiculous this Planeswalker is.
Oko unquestionably having a huge impact on this game. Sam pays for Pact. Takes his draw. Gruul Turf, I believe, was the draw.
So before these Amulet Titan decks started adopting the castle, there was a time when they were only playing 2 basics.
Right.
And you could really attack them with something like Assassin's Trophy, because after the second basic, you know you're just stone raining them.
Mm-hmm.
But now they play so many more basics so that they have the forest for the castle to come into play untapped. It's hard to attack them in that way.
Yeah. Here's Gruul Turf, bouncing back the Bojuka Bog. Headed back to Edgar's turn, takes a draw, just an island. Hand of Cryptic Command, Assassin's Trophy now for Edgar. Gonna go ahead and plus one more time. Another Elk. Sam's gonna fall to 11. Edgar just passes the turn back.
Yeah, and it looks like Edgar's saying the Azusa does not matter anymore. Like, we're past that point in the game
makes
now.
sense to me.
I need to just put some pressure on you. I've got two what should be very clean answers in my hand. Let's get this game over with as fast as possible.
Sam drew Summoner's Pact. And he's got mana open this time to be able to Disdainful Stroke. No Amulet in play, but I can set up Field of the Dead here. Here's the Cryptic Command. And Sam going to go ahead, cast Disdainful Stroke.
Yeah, we could set up double Field of the Dead, right? That Azusa that we said no longer matters could potentially matter a whole lot.
Yeah, you can find ways to make it matter now. And there's a Primeval Titan on the battlefield. I think this game just changed pretty dramatically.
Yep, I'm with you on that one.
And again, you go back to that point. I'm not trying to criticize the decision because I don't know how you could do anything else in that spot against a deck like Amulet Titan where you know your Metallic Rebuke is not going to stay alive for the entire game. You understand why you wanted to spend it there, but this is the consequence of it now.
Man, this is another great game. I love this.
It really is. And I don't think it's been decided yet.
1 million zombies. Now the Assassin's Trophy doesn't look great at all.
Now, what's going to be interesting to see if Edgar can find a place to just set up lethal, because he's got an untapped fetch land, can go get Mystic Sanctuary, can put Cryptic Command on top. I'm looking at the battlefield. I see 10 points of damage. I don't see 11 points of damage.
Yeah, Oko making another elf next turn. So 3 elk plus the Azusa. It seems like Edgar's going to need one more turn.
And of course, Force of Vigor in hand for Sam. Can mess with that plan effectively as well, even with no mana.
Potentially, yes.
Edgar is going to go ahead and get that Mystic Sanctuary.
Yeah, I'm sure Edgar sees the line. Maybe I don't kill you this turn.
Makes a food.
Maybe I do. You know, a draw like another Oko would be lethal.
If he's got the mana.
Well, he's got 1 million food, he has 2 geese, and he's got a lot of lands in play. Oh, he can't draw Oko. We know that he's drawing Cryptic Command.
Accurate. One of the downsides about knowing the draw step, right? It can't be anything anymore. I'll also note, Craig, I'm talking a lot about the Metallic Rebuke spot. It really doesn't change anything in this at this point, right? You would have cast it and you would have been able to pay for the Metallic
Correct. The
Rebuke
way
anyway.
that the game played out, Sam had 3 mana available to him when he deployed the Titan that turn.
Right. So ultimately not impactful.
Oh, Edgar, are we going to get another turn? It's tough because if he passes the turn, he's actually not making a whole bunch of progress because Sam's going to be able to use the food to gain some more life. It's hard to outpace this.
It is.
And if the Titan's able to attack, you're looking at just a world of problems.
Yeah, I think that Titan has to leave the battlefield, right? It has to be Assassin's Trophied. Letting it attack just means you're doomed to these Field of the Dead.
Yeah, 100%. He'll be able to search up some lands, transmute the Teleria West, go get his own counterspell to jam you up. I agree. I think we need to kill the Titan. And then there's a question of can we set up a win for the next turn?
I just don't think you can, given especially the Force of Vigor in Sam's hand. I am at the point where I think this game is heavily favoring Sam, and it's going to take a bit of a miracle for Edgar to pull this out.
I mean, this was a great game that just went both ways.
You know, we talked about Amulet Titan in our pregame show. I made a point to make sure our discussion talked about Field of the Dead and how much it has added to this deck. You see it right here.
Huge addition.
And you see Edgar head in his hands, trying to figure out the desperation play that can get him out of this situation.
So I like, he might be thinking about an aggressive line here, where he says, tap down your team, I'm able to attack you for a whole ton.
You go to 1.
I know you have to pay for a pact and potentially pay to sacrifice the food. I'm going to blow up your Titan, and then maybe I'm able to cross the finish line on the next turn, especially if I draw a high-impact spell like another Cryptic Command.
It seems like it has to be exactly Cryptic Command at that point, though. And maybe Edgar's saying that's the only way I can win this game is by hitting running Cryptic Commands.
This is a big decision. I love it.
This is such a tough call for Edgar.
Well, and taking this line is saying, I want to win the game. It's, other lines are potentially lines where you say, I'm trying not to lose the game. which against 2 Field of the Dead just seems inevitable, right?
You don't get match points for not losing the game, Craig. You got to get that W. And if this is your last out, I don't know what choice you have but to go for it.
Oh.
What are the other cards in Sam's hand? Do we know?
I'm not 100%, but that is definitely part of the decision here.
Here's another elk. The hand looks like it's getting ready to pass right now, and it is going to. The turn passes back to Sam Berkenbile.
Oh, yeah, we knew about the Bajuka Bog, right?
Right. We did.
Once again, modern MSP players, that is time in round 3.
Sam is just all over this packed payment.
Yeah. Draws Snow-Covered Forest, Bajuka Bog, and I think 2 green cards. It might be 2 forces, actually.
And this is one of the reasons you let them draw before you cast your Abrupt Decay here, right?
Yeah, hoping they miss
Assassin's Trophy.
their land.
Well, it gives them more chances to draw the basics that are in their deck.
And they did.
And Sam did, yeah.
Should have 1 more basic in the deck, right, Craig?
I believe that's correct. Do you ever sideboard out one of the forests?
I never have. I'm not going to say there's no possibility you would ever do that. It has never come up for me. But maybe Sam did?
He's going to look at his sideboard.
Huh. Yeah, I'm checking the list. 2 forests, 2 snow-covered forests. We see 1 forest on the battlefield, 1 snow-covered forest on the battlefield. We saw a draw of snow-covered forest. It looks like he boarded 1 out. Interesting.
Yeah, and that might end up being pretty important. The way these elks and zombies are accumulating on the board, it's possible he's going to need those 2 bodies as this game progresses.
It is possible. Craig, are those elks still artifacts?
No, they are not.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take Oko-related questions, so I will take your word for it.
3, 6, 9, 12. Looks like it's going to be 13 points of attackers.
Unless Sam wants to respond here. Tapping some mana. Okay, gonna go ahead and tap.
And draw.
And draw. Oko. Pluses on the food. Now it's time to respond.
Yep.
Force of Vigor, both foods. Gonna eat it.
And I hope Edgar hasn't just forgotten.
Plays another Oko. Pluses on the elk. Cracks the food. And Sam's gonna fall to 1.
And Edgar still has an untapped goose. That's huge here because Sam actually has 13 points of attackers on the other side.
Oh my goodness, could that sideboarded out forest be the difference in this game?
I mean, the game's not over because Sam just has so many blockers still. But it is pretty wild that that's going to be the difference potentially as we move forward.
Drew Cavern of Souls, has Force of Vigor at the ready. As you mentioned, can attack Edgar down to 1 here. That would leave him dead on the swing back. I think you got to get that Oko off the battlefield. That's step 1.
Well, it's tough because he's staring at the face of 1, 2, 3, 5 lethal attackers.
How many attackers do we have on Sam's side? Here's another Cavern of Souls. Okay, plenty of blockers now. Or do you just put Edgar down to 1? I guess he would fall to 2.
Yeah, you got to leave 1 or 2 creatures back still. You can't let Oko make swaps or grow something somewhere in here.
Here comes Azusa. And 3 zombies.
And I assume they're coming at Oko.
This is my guess.
Brian, if I told you that this is what our board state was going to look like in this game, would you ever believe it?
This is unreal, Craig. All right, looks like 1 zombie at Edgar, some zombies and Azusa at Oko. Edgar's going to take a draw. Craig, Cryptic Command just wins the game. It's just a land. There's no Mystic Sanctuaries left, correct? We've played 2. Only 2 in the deck. And that means Edgar just passes the turn.
Yeah, and it's
back to Sam.
Super tough for Edgar there because each elk just trades with 1 zombie.
Yep.
And Sam has some huge draw steps in his deck. Even a Karoo just represents 6 zombies each turn. He just keeps playing it, bouncing itself, and replaying it with the Azusa.
6 blockers available for Edgar. Did not catch the draw from Sam. Slayer's Stronghold.
That's an interesting one.
It is. Do we have red and white available? I don't think so.
What are the chances with that many lands on the battlefield?
I know.
Oh, man.
And that means Sam just has to pass. Here's the draw from Edgar. Damping Sphere. That does nothing, Craig.
That does absolutely nothing. It is a big tease at this point in the game.
Players in the modern PS2, your pairings.
Edgar going to go ahead and play it out.
To the board. Pairings are also
Has a food available. Can make another food with the goose. Is that enough to stay alive?
I think it is. He has a lot of blockers, and he's still at a pretty healthy life total.
6 blockers at 11 life. 2 food available. Only enough mana to crack 1, I believe. Going to make another food on end step. Takes a draw.
Oh, both of these decks just have huge draws that could finish the game.
No, just another line. There's Primeval Titan.
That is going to do it for us here. This represents 1,000,000 zombies.
Sam cannot reach for his mana quickly enough.
Don't forget about that Cavern of Souls. Is that still on human?
I don't remember.
It happened so long ago.
I don't remember.
Okay, he's going to use the castle. Nope, you can't use the castle. He could try to use the castle. It would be a big mistake. Oh, I see. All right, he's going to blow up the Damping Sphere first, I believe.
Okay. Damping Sphere and a food. Edgar's going to go ahead and gain some life. But Sam going to go ahead, get to casting this Primeval Titan. Can he make red and white mana on this turn and give it haste? Here is Primeval Titan.
Oh, yeah.
I am not sure he can.
Why? So looking at the lands that he tapped, I would guess he has a red floating from the Gruul Turf.
Okay. You can get yourself a white.
Correct, and he still has Gemstone Caverns available to him. So he bounces
Gemstone Mine, but yes.
Gemstone Mine, yes, thank you. Bounces the Gemstone Mine back to his hand, replays it through the
Gets a
Azusa,
white.
and then goes from there.
Yeah, there's the gemstone mine. Here's a Boros Garrison. Return the gemstone mine, replay the gemstone mine.
1 million zombies.
I'll take all the zombies, thank you very much. How about a little haste for that Titan?
And I think he just sends everything because he's going to have 1 million zombies back.
It seems like a safe attack. And for Edgar Magalhaes, an incredible tournament.
Just so close. Got the opponent to 1 life, Brian.
Could not get any closer, Craig.
And now I think Edgar's saying, can I chump block my way to one more turn?
One more shot. That's all Edgar wants. One more chance.
Potentially draw that cryptic command to win the game. we got to be running out of zombies there, right?
Edgar going to go ahead and find his blocks. Just needs to leave. 1 creature alive. 1 more chance to rip a cryptic command.
Yeah, and he can still create a food and sacrifice it here with the goose.
Mm-hmm. He's going to get the shot, isn't he? He's going to get one shot.
I think he might need to move the Souza from bouncing off the other Souza to blocking a zombie. Yep, and he sees it. And yeah, this looks like 2 points are going to trample from prime time, making it 19 total. He's going to be at 20 after he cashes in the food.
Yep.
This is just crazy.
Yep, we get 1 more draw.
1 more big sweat.
And we're going to figure out the aftermath of this combat. And then we're going to head to 1 final draw step for Edgar's tournament life.
Slam it. Come on, Edgar.
Here's the draw.
Kapow!
It's a thought seize, and with that, Sam Berkenbile likely locks up a top 8 here at the SCG Invitational, and you see the heartbreak on Edgar's face. You cannot get any closer to winning a match of Magic. What an incredible